This is the site of the Great Molasses Flood, a freak industrial accident that happened here in Boston in 1919. Standing here in the 1910s was a huge tank that held 2.8 million gallons of molasses. It had been built by the American Purity Distilling Company. They brought molasses up from the Caribbean and they distilled it into industrial grade alcohol. Unfortunately, they put their accountant in charge of this building project, and while he was a nice man, he really didn't know what he was doing and the engineering wasn't sound. From day one, the tank started to leak. In mid-January, there was a beautiful warm day, and it warmed up to in the mid-50s, which is quite warm for Boston in January. And meantime, a shipment of molasses had come in, and there was some cold molasses in the tank that had been sitting there for a while. So we had this contrasting warm and cold molasses in the tank, and the outside temperature getting hotter and colder. And so when the temperature sank down to 20 degrees, the tank actually exploded. A wave of molasses moving about 35 miles an hour comes hurtling into the north end. We did lose people who were out on the street. A lot of the wooden buildings in the work yard were just simply lifted off their foundations and pushed out into the harbor. Those workers swam away, but our firehouse was made out of granite and it held fast. So we actually lost 4 firefighters that day who were simply drowned in molasses. All told, the death toll was 21 people who were killed in the Great Molasses Flood, and there were hundreds who were injured. There was a class action lawsuit, which was won and gave everybody a pretty good settlement, and some major changes were done to laws throughout the country. You can no longer put an accountant in charge of a building project. That has to be done with an engineer, and you would never be able to build an industrial structure in the middle of a residential neighborhood.